this week, we've seen a lot of activity here in America of troop movements in the cities. We've seen, and of course, I'm sure they're going to say they're training exercises, and it's the usual PR pitch, right? But I know that here I saw like a squadron of those cargo helicopters or personnel helicopters go over, and I've seen YouTube videos of these big operations going on in cities, military operations going
That's
on.
That's not normal where you
That's
are?
not normal. No. Not in cities. Normally they're out, in the field somewhere doing, but they're so now. Of course, ostensibly they're calling them training exercises. Well, this is the first time I've seen or heard of training exercises in cities. So I'm wondering if we're gearing up for that big cyber attack that we've been talking about, or a big Taiwan invasion. I think an invasion of Taiwan I think it's coming. And if anybody out there, if you've been thinking about getting a new cell phone, you better do it fast, because you're going to see a semiconductor chips war real soon.
That phone you got in your pocket, that's the last one you've got.
That's right.
We're going back to one of these ones in the landline. Hello.
Yeah. I mean, a really good barter item might be go out and get a spare cell phone and stick it in your drawer. That might be a really good barter item.
If that with a landline phone, that you can plug in.
Yeah.
If we had to revert to those, because the landline's still in your house or it's still in your apartment, but it's just not plugged in.
Oh, I still have a dial phone, a rotary phone.
You do?
Yeah, it's in storage, but I still got it.
You still got one?
Yeah.
So what do you think's going on? I could put my tinfoil hat on and share with you what I've seen as well. I've seen a lot of that. I saw some earlier today where there was a whole lot of trucks with Bradleys and tanks, and they're moving them somewhere. But you see this random footage where somebody's got their phone out and they go, "Oh, look, large military movements." Who knows what they are?
Yeah.
Who knows if they're moving them out of storage to an exercise, or they're taking them to a range to blow them up, or they're actually doing something legitimate with it. It's very, very hard to say.
Yeah,
there are a lot of people out there saying that there's 17 cities in the United States. I don't have the list in front of me, but I saw it yesterday. 17 cities in the United States that are under cyber ransomware attacks, which means they've been held to ransom, apparently by the Russians and the white supremacists and whoever they are. I don't know that. And what they're doing is saying either pay the ransom or we're going to turn the power off. And because the United States government doesn't negotiate with terrorists, the power is going to go off. And the reason for all the military to be in place is to implement a quasi-martial law. So that's what people are saying online. That's the kind of the summary of what's going on. And so essentially what they want to do is they're going to say, you're going to have to go into a lockdown and there's going to be martial law because there's no electricity. But there's nothing wrong with the grid, yeah? The grid is completely fine. They're just turning the power off to get you to comply, to destroy the financial system, to actually get you into your digital ID and your central bank digital currency. They're rolling it out. That's what's rolling out. And they're going to use the military to implement it. I know nothing like that is happening in Australia because there's only like 17 troops in Australia. So, and we're a really big country and there's a lot of us. So there's no chance they could ever use the military to implement something like that. But here in Australia, they wouldn't have to use the military. All they would do is get the mainstream news anchors to go on TV and say, please stay at home. But if the power goes off, there's no one to say that. And then that's when they implement all of those rules and all of those laws. And your job is to fight back. Your job is to ignore them. Your job is to do everything that you can that's humanly possible to ignore what the government tells you to do. Because they're trying to tell you to do that to keep you safe. But in keeping you safe, you're actually allowing this to happen. You're allowing them to take over. This is the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the resistance if it's actually true. Who is John Connor? I don't know, man. Don't worry about AI killing us all. We're going to kill each other.
So reduce your exposure to your bank, get some gold and silver.
Get some gold and silver, man.
and establish streams of passive recurring income.
I'm going to establish streams of passive income from the neighbors. They're going to be paying me for security protection and the security detail.
They're going to be paying me for toilet paper.
And coffee.
Yeah.
That is the mission priority. Well, what do you think's going on? Have you heard those same crazy theories that I'm talking about there?
God save the Queen. Well, there's no real way of knowing. all we can do is we're always speculating until something actually happens, right? Up until the moment that something actually happens, it's a speculation. My speculation is listen, I think that there is going to be an invasion of Taiwan. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, partly because of the presidential calendar. They if they're going to do it, they want to do it while they got this guy, in the office. And I'm not kidding about that, by the way. I think there's really something to that. So I think, and we always listen. When big events happen and they're devastating, the reason why they're devastating is exactly because people were not expecting them. It's because there were surprises. Just say when stock markets crash, it's because an event happened that the street was not expecting. That's when big events happen. So we're always kind of playing the game. So it's always better. It's better to be prepared and not need to be prepared than
Imagine,
otherwise.
you and I are looking at this news stuff all the time because we're news junkies and we're doing these types of reports. And, I spend the vast majority of my day doing that to pull out stories and to figure out what to communicate to people and what matters. Where's the unspoken truth, right? And the reality is that you can't control any of it. All that you can do is control your reactions to what goes on. But you also have to remember some fundamental grounding, foundational pieces and truths as well, is that the government, you mock me all the time, but the government are not there to help you. The government
I don't
are
mock
there
you. I'm right with you. No.
Yeah, but they're not there to help you. No, I
No.
believe that they are. I believe that they're there to help us. I believe that they want the right thing for us.
Oh, I see. You took okay. That's right. You're the Boy Scout. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's it. You believe, you have faith in your government. I forgot that.
But it's not true, right? And you're 100% right when you say that, when you do mock me about that, because they are only there to protect their own self-interest. And we've seen that through COVID. We've seen it. They lied and they lied and they lied and they pretended as if they had health advice. But even to this day, we've still never seen any health advice to say that lockdowns were justified. Nothing has ever come out to say that we justified that. It's just a complete and total fabrication, and it's a beat up. So my view is that whatever happens, you must remember your core fundamental truths is that the government is not there to help you. And you must just take this adage, really. It's just a mantra. Just question every single thing that they tell you to do and ask yourself, why are they telling me to do that? If there was a lockdown and martial law because the power went off, why do they want me to be locked up? Is the power really off? I don't believe you that the power's off. I don't believe that there's thousands of people that work in that electricity industry, or whatever you would call it, the energy industry. There's thousands and thousands of people that can't resolve the issue. I don't believe that you don't have at the NSA the world's best cyber hackers and the world's best computer programmers to fix whatever cyber attack has happened. I just don't believe you. I believe that all you're trying to do is to get me to supplicate to your will and try and control me for some strange unknown reason. I don't know what that reason is, but all you want to do is control me. And you're trying to get rid of me for some reason by turning the power off, because as soon as you turn the power off, all the old people are going to die. All the sick people are going to die. All the disabled people are going to die. As soon as and the problem, the thing that they don't really understand, if the conspiracy theories are true, and it is a conspiracy theory, tell me what you think here, Ed. If all of that happens, all of the weak and vulnerable people will be destroyed. That's just the reality. They'll die because we live in a weak, soft society that is dependent on medicine. It's dependent on shops. It's dependent mostly, without realizing, it's dependent on trucks. And the minute that the transport stops and the trucks go away, because there's no more trucks to deliver what you need, all of a sudden you end up in a survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
And to begin with, it'll be the people that are most prepared, meaning have stockpiles of food and all of those things. But very quickly, society will descend into something chaotic where only the strong will survive.
That's right.
And that's the miscalculation these idiots are making, because the people that are strong think for themselves, and they're cunning and they're vicious and they're nasty. And those cunning, vicious, nasty people are coming for you, folks. If you don't, if you're not one of those people, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, well, when you say strong, well, the strong and the and the prepared, right? The people who are prepared will be the survivors. You and I, for a while there, we did quite a few reports on what would happen in the event of an EMP attack. And one of the stats we came across was that the general consensus among people who would know is that within a year, about 70 to 80% of the population would be dead.
They perish. Yeah.
70 to
Just
80%.
think about where you live, man. It's summertime there for you now, but if the power went off now and it went off in perpetuity for the next, say, 6 months, and it was only intermittent, how many people would perish because of the cold there where you live?
That's right. That's right. No, winters here, as you know, are brutal.
Yeah, it's hostile. Man.
I mean, at the moment, I'm sweating bullets, and I'm loving it because I know this will last for about 4 hours, and then I'm back to freezing my ass off for the rest of the year. So for me, it's just like a sauna. Why not save me a trip to the. Okay, so it's all about preparation, right? And I've heard people say, Bill Burr said once, as a joke, about preppers. Yeah, he knows about people who they have the gardens and they grow the tomatoes and all the rest of it, and they're prepping. Why would I be a prepper? All I'm doing is gathering all my stuff for the strongest guy in the neighborhood.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
I'm coming for you.
So what are they going to do? They're going to turn me upside down and shake me for the gold doubloons out of my pockets.
I don't want that. I want your tomatoes.
Yeah. So now I know you and I off camera we talked about our personal plans. I've got a bug in plan where I'll stay put. I'll just get prepped here and stay put as long as I can. But I haven't gotten the gun yet. That's the one thing in my prep to-do list that I haven't gotten around to doing yet. And you would think that a guy who is as pro-gun as me would have a gun, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I am going to get one. Yeah. I do plan on getting one, and maybe a shotgun, something that will shoot through the door, so I have to open it. Say, just go away. No, I'm not going away. Boom. No,
don't do that. Then you won't have a front door.
I'll have extra doors. I'll store up extra doors.
When we used to do exercises, mount training in the army, you go to these facilities and stuff. And I remember one time the bad guys on the other side, my mates on the other side of the door, they're like, "Right, oh, we're ready. Come on, practice clearing the rooms. We're ready for you." And it's playing armies like as grown men. And someone grabbed it. There was a fridge in there. It was an old fridge, and they put the fridge right up against the door. And so we've all stacked up against the door, and you can see that the door, because you get really good at looking at the hinges, the door opens outwards. So the door's opening outwards, and and I'm stacked up as number one, and my mate's in front of me. He's like, "Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!" And as he opens the door, I go forward, and I'm like, "Oh!" I smack my helmet on. It's like a fridge there, and then they just fire the machine gun on the other side of the fridge. The machine gun would just fire straight through the fridge, of course, and that'd be the end of the squad on the other side of there. So, but there's clever obstacles that happen. If you listen to the stories of the Battle of Fallujah, the enemy troops in there, AQI there in Iraq, they were really cunning in what they did because they understood how the Marines would clear buildings, and what they would do is they took out all the stairwells in the buildings. And so the Marines would come up to these gates, they'd stack up, and the enemy were upstairs, but there was no way for the Marines to get upstairs. So they would just fire down on them from elevated positions and then just bug out and then get away. And very quickly, the Marines recognized that what they needed to do was to climb up onto the roofs of these houses and literally go from roof to roof